We're going to get into a myriad of topics as we always do, but first, the intro. What's up, it's your boy Cintron, come back at you another analysis video, and I kid you not, that's my real name. We're pretty much on the eve of training camp for the Philadelphia Eagles, and man, I'm so excited. And these articles today actually kind of get you pumped up because the information that they're putting forth is kind of titillating and just on the precipice of pushing you over the edge. Pause, not edging you, but saying that there's so much to look forward to and get excited about with this team, man. I believe we have one of the best rosters, if not the best one, top down, bottom, however you say that, top to bottom down. I mean, and analysts, they are obviously agree with that, but we have so much potential that I believe can pay off, not just be promising on this squad. So anyways, let's get into it. First, I don't want to get to here. Eagles news, Philadelphia's sleeper breakout candidate. Eagles faithful, you know who this is. One, Milton Williams out of University Louisiana, I think Lafayette. LA Tech, I want to say, Louisiana Tech. All right, breakout candidates. Ours is Milton Williams. The Eagles have used a first-round pick on a defensive tackle on each of the past two drafts, that being Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter. But the 2021 third-round pick might be best positioned to surprising the team's quest to replace Javon Hargrave's production. And I don't disagree with that. He had 4 sacks last year and, kind of had, dealt with some injury issues, basically consistency throughout the year. But when he was on, man. And he was crashing in, knifing through. And he was one of those picks where, look at the analytics. He was a fast guy, lightning fast on the interior, and a guy that looked good on paper. But he's really been able to turn it on and to put his knowledge to use. Him only being a second player last year, and when do defensive tackles usually blossom? Going into and in their third year. And guess what year it is for Milton Williams? And he's a young guy here. Defensive tackles typically take time to develop, and the 24-year-old Williams has looked good as a rotational player with 6 total sacks and 12 QB hits across his first 2 seasons. And I think he's really going to see the light and turn it on. And he has a bevy of guys, he's going to be in the rotation, as they said. Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis will be the headliners for this young interior, but the supremely athletic Williams will have a chance to make an impact after dealing with some nagging injuries for parts of 2022. So yeah, he's coming off the bench. He's not a starter, so he doesn't have that pressure on him. But he's going to be able to put pressure on offenses. I mean, the guy just gets there really quick. And he's being looked at in the past as only a guy who's going to show up when you look at the spider wheel or whatever, athleticism. But no, it shows up on tape, and he puts it to good use, blowing past those guards on the interior. So hopefully we see that from him this year, and we'll see early on what he's able to do. But I really have my eye on him on the defensive line. He's actually the defensive side I'm most excited about. Don't get me wrong, I love Jordan Davis, his potential the most. He's an easy guy to fall in love with. Pause. But that being said, Milton Williams, I think, will bring his own mix to the table and allow us to, as a collective, successfully replace a guy like Javon Hargrave's production. It's not going to come just from one guy. It's going to come from a bunch. All right, training camp position preview, linebacker. All right, Nakobe Dean here. He's typically known for the work he did downhill as a box score stuffer in the structure of that Georgia defense and the run game, so in the heart of defense behind Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter at D-tackle. But don't discount the value he brings on third down as well. So interesting. We don't look, for our linebackers on the interior, middle linebacker, to be pass rushers. But T.J. Edwards also, he had a couple sacks last year, I think 3 or 4. So it's somewhere, it's something that we look for them to do in, splash bits here and there. And I think Sean Desai is going to dial that up even more than Jonathan Gannon, who only blitzed 8%, I believe, or so. And, Sean Desai does about on a 21 to 22% clip rate. So Dean was very effective as a blitzer from the second level for the Bulldogs, earning a pass rush win rate of 22.3 in his final season on campus, according to Pro Football Focus, PFF. A mark that would put him in the 90th percentile of linebackers drafted in the last decade. In coverage, according to PFF, he allowed an opposing passer rating of 70.5, a number that would once again put him in the 90th percentile of backers drafted since 2013. So very solid. I mean, I think he's a jack of all trades, and as of right now, a master of none. But he doesn't need to be, the ultimate master of the universe, like he's He-Man or something like that, or Conan. I don't know which one it is, but he just needs to be competent playing behind those excellent D tackles that are gonna, plug in front of him, so he can just have free access to, rush through those lanes or stuff the runners, and as well in pass coverage. And he's not the worst guy. I don't think he's the best on our team as well. That's going to be between Hassan Reddick and Nolan Smith. That being said, he can acquit himself very nicely. 70.5. That's a decent passer rating, especially for a linebacker to allow. So I think that he's going to be able to do a lot, and he's going to have a simplistic role. See quarterback, hit quarterback, if he's going to be called upon to do that at the minimum. At a minimum, because he's not going to be called to only be a pass rusher with all the guys who have on the interior and exterior on the D line and at linebacker. But he will be able to just see, think, process with at the snap of a finger, and go and hit runners as well. So look at the Titans tape in the year. It's a small sample size, but the quickness through which he went through his progressions and identified where the ball was and got there and laid the wood. Excellent work. So if he can hopefully extrapolate that over the course of 17 games, of course we're projecting, but man, I really like him to be a very good player, playing in a very direct role in his defense, because there's so much talent. There's so many talented guys around him that he doesn't have to be a Ray Lewis, even though he may have the potential. Pause on the expectations there, but I'm just saying, those aren't just my words. There's a couple articles that talk about that, or a couple guys at least. All right, we're gonna go on to our next article. All right, PFF is high on Jordan Davis entering year 2, so we'll get to two things that they talk about. Not them, the Inquirer as well, but Jordan Davis is ranked number 19. So there's some projection here with Davis, who played just 270 snaps in the regular season and playoffs last year. So I think 219 in the regular season. Don't ask me, I know that. I just memorized it. Anyways, didn't try. But he should pair with fellow former Georgia Bulldog Jalen Carter to spearhead the Eagles' defensive interior by the end of the 2023 season. Davis registered 10 tackles, resulting in a defensive stop from 142 snaps against the run, and flashes a pass rusher. So to get this, including 4 pressures on 14 pass rushing snaps against the Commanders in Week 3. And I think that's something very highly underrated about him, because he does have the prerequisite speed, 4.78 at D tackle, which he's faster than T.J. Edwards, our linebacker, who's like nearly 100 pounds lighter, which is insane when you think about that. But that shows some versatility in our scheme, that we can turn him out, as a pass rusher, turn him loose, and let him wreak havoc, and let maybe someone like Jalen Carter take occupied bodies in the middle, and not throw the offense out, because they're expecting this guy to be a gapper. He's blowing through your gap. Pause again. But yeah, he has such an interesting skill set. It can't be mirrored by anybody on the roster. Maybe Noah Ellis, the D tackle, who's 360 pound plus or 340 pounds plus, who can be our backup defensive tackle, nose tackle, if he wins the job. But that has yet to be seen. But man, this guy, has all the potential in the world. He's dripping with it. But yeah, he's only in his second year. I don't expect the world of him. I expect him to take a next step though. And we're gonna look at that a little bit lower. And in his own words, him nailing down and pinpointing some things that he needs to work on, or that he wants to have in his wheelhouse, and have worked out in the kinks, as far as when this season gets underway, and during the season. But I mean, yeah, you can't look at his stats and say that, oh man, he didn't do shit last year. He isn't going to show up in the stat sheet per se, but you got to look at the film, evaluate, and see where how he's making the guys around him better, how he's sacrificing for them, because pretty much essentially most of his role to be a guy who protects the other guys, so that they can do their job, and they can get to the plays. He's holding up the defense, basically, quite literally, like Atlas or something like that, so that they can the guys around him can run around and make plays. But yeah, man, he's such a pivotal piece of our defense, because no one can emulate his role, like I said, on our defense, and hopefully he can stay healthy this year. But let's go to the second part. Eagles Jordan Davis ready to reach lofty expectations in year two. The Philadelphia Inquirer. I definitely know what's expected of me, Davis said, and I'm ready to meet those expectations. I understand that you're asking a lot more of me, and that's okay. That's what I'm here for. I'm lucky that I had the experience behind those guys to see what it took. She's saying like guys like Ndamukong Suh and Linval Joseph, who came in place of him last year, as well as Fletcher Cox, who's back for another rodeo, and Javon Hargrave, who left for greener pastures, but was a great pass rusher for us. But just try to take those lessons that gave me and not let it go to waste. I watched film on myself, and I just realized a lot of my technique was raw, so I wanted to come in, and I want to come in hot. So he's saying that, he realizes that, he was just going off of maybe his athleticism or what meager, amount that he was able to not just learn, but retain and put to use out there on the field, because most of them, you got to build that up, over time. It's his first year being a pro. He's a rookie, so you don't expect him, like I said, to, go out there and be a superhero, especially when he doesn't know what he's doing. He's still growing, not just physically. But he wants to come in hot, so he wants to be consistent. He wants to wreck the game plans of the offense, week in and week out, and not just have peaks and valleys. He wants to have a steady ascension over the course of the season. I wanted to come in sharp, and especially since the guys here, new rooks, I want to make sure I set a great example for them. So excellent, man. Just mentorship, which is something you want your defense or offense, your team to be built upon. The younger guys coming in, asking the older guys, being able to look to them for wisdom, for for steadiness, for composure, for hints, for just tips on how to be a pro, how to study, how to break down film, how to train, how to eat, how to diet, how to stay away from distractions, all that stuff mixed in. I don't want to be the guy that falls behind on the guy that the coach has to correct my technique every time. So he wants to be self-accountable. He wants to be self-correctable. He wants to be the guy holding himself to this high standard, but also the guy knowing what he's doing wrong before the coach has to intervene and step in and tell him, so that he can just play fast. And it's all about, like, once you get, like, what is it? Say to be a master of something, you have to do it like over 10,000 times, or at the very minimum 2,000 to even be competent in it. And then from there on, you can try and push towards mastery. It takes thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of times to do something to command mastery over it. But yeah, that's just the dedication that it takes. All right, developing situation, Eagles blitz. They also tell stories as a way to illustrate the. Okay, anyway, let's skip to Sirianni. Okay, Nick Sirianni has his teaching tapes that he is constantly updating. He shows specific plays for games or reps from practice so they can see what he wants in action, not just theory, which is excellent, man. I love when people show me and not just tell me, because I'm not a person that learns by just here. I need to see a physical example as well as be talked through the process. So, and preferably while I'm doing it myself, so I can commit it to memory. If I've done it already, experienced it, I can maybe recreate it, which is just what you want the guys to do out there. The next month will give the coaches a chance to do more teaching and developing. That will be crucial for a roster with so much young talent. I mean, teaching it, you want to be able to have the guys know what they're doing, and then have them tailor that so they can get better. You get better by making mistakes and then reflecting upon what you did and correcting what you didn't do well. All right, when you lose guys like T.J. Edwards, Isaac Seumalo, Javon Hargrave, and C.J. Gardner-Johnson, you need young guys to step up. And I believe we have contingency plans in place for everyone, which is the beautiful thing. And I'm not saying that they're perfect, but we do have them in place. It wasn't like we needed to draft them. Like, say, the Bears, they drafted before us when they traded for our pick. They've done, I think, a spot or two. No, we just swapped picks. We were at number 10, and then we moved up to number 9 for Jalen Carter. They drafted a tackle, I think Darnell Wright, who needs to start now. We have guys redshirt, or they come in and they play in a rotation, so we're not solely dependent on their production coming in for that year. We can kind of wean them off of the amateurish tit, so to speak, and kind of ease them into the pool instead of throwing them in raw turkey. But T.J. Edwards, Nakobe Dean is obviously going to fill his shoes. Isaac Seumalo. We have our backup center from last year, Cam Jurgens, second-round pick from last year, being slotted in out of position, of course, at right guard instead of center. But he had a year in the system. He got stronger. Smart guy, athletic. And we're going to make use of that. So that's if he wins the battle over Tyler Steen, who's also being shifted from left tackle to right guard. So that's still a plan we had in place before. Javon Hargrave, we have Milton Williams, who, I mean, as of right now, is better than Jalen Carter, so to speak, because he has years of experience too in the NFL. We also have Jordan Davis. We brought back Fletcher Cox. So Jalen Carter is, coming in to onto the squad. He was number 3 or number 4. Yes, he could start, and yes, but he's not being solely counted on as the guy to come in and fill Javon Hargrave's shoes. That's going to be a team effort, so to speak. And C.J. Gardner-Johnson, we brought in Terrell Edmonds. He was a backup plan in case the plan to re-sign him fell through, and obviously it did. And he was a solid guy over the course of his 5 seasons, and he's playing with 2 excellent corners. At the very least, are good, so that allows him to have an easier job. Farming the land back there at safety. So, I mean, we don't have anybody just coming in raw as a rookie being slated to start. We have guys at least that have veteran experience that are going to heavily contribute or moderately contribute, and that's the beauty of the GMing job that Howard Roseman has done. Speaking of him, that guy and the scouts have done a good job of finding the next wave of talent. Yeah, that's all what it's all about. You got to replace. You kind of want to be the Patriots. You want to not just necessarily cut a guy, because we brought back some guys in not in specific roles, not putting the onus all on them, as I said before. But while those guys are kind of being placeholders, getting the next guys, getting them experience, so that when they do have a chance to start and be outright the starters, they're not just jumping into the deep end of the pool. So now it's up to the coaches to get the most out of the players, and for the players to play up to their talent level. And yeah, I think they can. And that's largely also based on the teaching and development that we're set to do over the course of the next month. But I believe that we can do it, because we've proven last year that we're excellent at teaching concepts and things like that. So hopefully we can continue on, even though we have a lot of new teachers in the building. All right, the next article and last one we're going to get to, or in a subset of articles. Eagles news: Philadelphia's most important non-quarterback player, and they put Jason Kelce here, and I'm not refuting it on that. He plays a pivotal role as the quarterback of the offensive line. Getting the calls in and audibling, reshuffling line shifts and then protection shifts to counter what defense is doing. That's a lot of responsibility, as well as snapping the ball and then getting his head around to block the guy. I mean, to me, that's always been an amazing skill set. That being said, man, you could say the receivers, because AJ Brown, he came in and diametrically transformed this offense. So you look at it before him with with Devonta Smith leading the charge, and after, man, night and day. You could say one of the guys, Hassan Reddick. If he goes down, man, where does that season go? Or Darius Slay, if he goes down, or James Bradbury. I mean, so there's a couple directions you could look, man. With the running backs now, we're not dependent on solely on one guy, but man, it's a lot of positions because we're just so stacked all over the place. I would say maybe in Lane Johnson you can put him there. Not maybe, definitely, because us without him last year and with him, like I said, it's the difference between sunshine and moon. And when the moon is out, man, things can get dark. Anyways, let's look at the return of a legend. So, if you haven't been living under a rock, you know that Dennis Kelly is back. He played here previously under the Chip Kelly era, 2012 to 2013. And then he's gone off, and he went off to the Titans, and we traded him, got some value back from him, I think, some low round picks. That being said, he's going to bring a lot of experience back to the table and be a pivotal swing tackle for us, and also can be a guard in a pinch. He's played hundreds of snaps there as well. So like him making a roster over Trevor Reed, who's an athletic guy, unfurbished. He's raw in an unpolished gym. And you can trust Stoutland to get him right. So if he survives being cut, put on the practice squad, which I believe he'll be on that side of the roster, not on the active roster. Yeah, just give him some time with Jeff Stoutland, and if he has the requisite talent, he'll get him right. But 54 starts and 130 games under his belt, that's something valuable in the building. And he not only, like I said, he can compete with Jack Driscoll for the top swing tackle spot, as well as just O lineman, the top backup O lineman, and it gives us great flexibility to not have to go out there and make a roster move if in the event that someone goes down in game, we suffer an injury that's long term, we have to or short term, we have to replace the guy. He can hold down the fort for a little bit. So man, it's interesting. Sometimes the minor moves that we don't really take note of, like C.J. Gardner-Johnson was in a ballyhooed move last year, but some people saw the potential, and I didn't know much about the guy. I looked at him, I'm like, okay, he looks like he can be a player, but he really elevated his game coming here, man. Let's see, 10 Eagles on defense to watch. I mean, there's so many. I'll just say Nolan Smith here because he's gonna be he can be a jack of all trades for us, fit in so many roles, be a joker, play a joker role, and be something anywhere and everywhere, rushing, coverage, hell, even at pure defensive end. Sometimes even play in the secondary a little bit, just play with, because he has the speed. He's just such a chess piece to have on the board. But I would say Milton Williams, look at him, Nakobe Dean, of course, Christian Ellis, watch him, Nicholas Morrow, Sidney Brown, Reed Blankenship, Zach McPherson, Keely Ringo, Greedy Williams, Eli Ricks. The other kind of Mekhi Gardner, watch him. Of course, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Janarius Robinson is a sleeper of mine. I really want him to make the roster and make an impact as the 5th or 6th end. So there's so many guys. We're really talented, and even our backups have backups. So, yeah, man, I'm really excited for training camp coming up, and we're gonna have some fun out there. I really love that the guys are gonna get that much better. You just know, you feel it in the building, and just know the potential that they have. So, anyways, we're gonna get up out of here. Long ass video. I'm just excited. I'm so I'm so on it right now, and I feel like I was on it in this video. Anyways, but you're not even watching, but it's all good. Because, as always, it's fly, Eagles, fly, and let's motherfucking go. Like, comment, share, and subscribe if you like. Thanks for watching. Check me out at Cintron, Cintron Anime, Cintron Life, or Cintron Laughs, or other social media.